Welcome to another episode of Dad, Can We Talk? Look at me, man. I'm already being clumsy. I'm dropping my phone and all, man. But this is episode 97 of Dad, Can We Talk? And man, I'm excited today because I've been wanting to get this guy on for a minute. But y'all know how my scheduling be. I be all over the place, but the time has come because I've been wanting to sit with this brother for a minute. Seriously, man. But before we get into all that, I need for y'all to go to YouTube. Put in Dad, Can We Talk? Dad, Can We Talk? The podcast will come up. All I need y'all to do is subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. A lot of people say they support me. Y'all want to support me. That's the biggest way to support me at this current time is to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm at like 101, 102. So I need about 900 more because in order to be monetized on YouTube, you have to be at 1,000 subscribers. So I'm trying to get that up. I know I'm a little late in the game. I just started posting all my videos like this year, but going forward, I'm trying to have everyone on it there. So every time I drop an episode, it's going to be directly to YouTube. So that's how I need for y'all to support me. Go to Dad, Can We Talk there. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can go to Google and type in Dad, Can We Talk? I think the episodes will pop up right there on Google and you can listen. Or you can just simply go to dadcanwetalk.com. Right there on the website, all the episodes are streaming there. And I also have the YouTube page there on the website. So it's a lot of ways you can find Dad, Can We Talk? If you just want to find it, I'm telling you, go to Google and type in Dad, Can We Talk? It's going to pop up in some way, shape, or form. On some type of platform, it's going to be there. It's on Instagram, Facebook. Got a little TikTok for it. I don't really use no TikTok. Y'all know me, man. I even got a Twitter. I don't even use that like that. But it's there. It's there. But yeah, so if you want to support me, like the page on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on wherever you listen to podcasts. Just go and get some stuff. I always like to say, where there's smoke, there's fire. And with these algorithms on social media, the smoke is the likes, the shares, the subscribers. That tells the algorithm that there's something going on over there. So that's what I need y'all to do, man, to be able to help and support me out on this podcast. But yeah, without further ado, man, like I said, man, I'm sitting with a brother today that I've been excited to sit down and talk with. And I want y'all to welcome to Dad, Can We Talk? My man, Mackenzie Williams. What's good, my man?
Yes, sir. What's happening?
Man, I'm good, man.
Yes, sir.
Good. Man, if y'all know his son and y'all know my son, y'all know them jokers was like this here.
Yeah.
You know, and just watching him over the last maybe 2 or 3 years over at The Rock, my kids always talk about him all the time. You know, they always say, Coach Ken listen to the same music you listen to, Daddy. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. So, yeah, man, I just think he's a really good guy, stand up, man. So it's only right that I get him on here and I just want to hear his story. So y'all tap in right now because we finna get into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, you know, I like to keep it the same on every episode. First question I always ask is, what was your relationship like with your dad?
Oh, man. First of all, let me say I appreciate you for having me on.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, it's definitely an honor to, support you, support Dad, Can We Talk? Because dads are definitely important in our community. Dads are important in our world. And so, man, I commend you for this, just for listening, because a lot of times dads don't listen.
Straight up.
So I appreciate you, man, for having this. Support the movement, man. Go like it, share it, subscribe it, whatever you got to do on YouTube, on all the social media platforms, but do that. Yeah. But no, my relationship with my dad was non-existent. So I never met my biological dad.
Wow.
So it was non-existent. My mom was a strong woman, and so she married my dad who raised me, my stepdad. She been married to him. I'm 33. She's been married to him for 31 years.
Sheesh.
And so my relationship, with my bio dad was non-existent. But at the same time, my relationship with my stepdad was non-existent. And so what we call that in like the legal term for that, if you want to say, is the dad was present but absent. So he was absent while present. And so I never really had a father figure. I looked up to my big brother. I looked up to some men in the church, some of my uncles, but I never really had a relationship from a father figure standpoint.
Yeah.
And so I just went on what I thought a father figure was supposed to be, and I went on what my mama taught me, what she could teach me. And I always tell people, man, like, we support moms and we support single mothers, but a mother can never raise a son to be a man because she hasn't been through the things that a young boy has to go through to be a man. And so, I lacked some of the things that it took to be a man, to be a husband. And so, I kind of had to learn on the fly and had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
So that's the importance of it. Maybe if I had my father or a father figure that was in my life to show me the way, maybe I didn't have to go through those struggles. But all I can do is count my blessings, man, and show my sons and my daughter what a father looked like, so they can continue the cycle.
That's real, and that's interesting, man. So with your dad, was it a situation where you just had never met him? He just wasn't around. He was in a different city or something?
Yeah. So the situation was he was in the military, and him and my mom met. They weren't from the same place. Okay. She was up there for about 2 weeks. They got to rapping, and that's how it happened. You know what I'm saying? And so she knew who he was, and she actually, man, I commend my mom for this. Mama, if you watching, I appreciate you. I love you. Yeah. But no, she told me, she sat me down and she said, son, it's my fault. It's not your dad's fault. I told him to stay away. Yeah. Because they weren't married. And so she was like, I told him to stay away. And she said, I'm sorry. But I never held any grudges. I never held any grudges against my mom for that, because I felt like I had a great upbringing. Yeah. So, you just play the hand that you dealt and you make the best of it. Yeah.
Straight up. That's real. And the reason I ask that, because I talk with a lot of guys who, it's crazy because a lot of guys' dads live in the same cities as them. Yeah. And that's one of the things that always get me. I'm like, man, I wonder, like what happens in those situations. Like you don't really know your dad, but he live in the same city, at least close enough to be able to have some sort of relationship. And so I just like to kind of see where that was, but that's understandable. Like you say, man, shout out to moms, man. Yeah. But so how would you say that, do you think that affected you as you were growing up? Did you ever, where you ain't have like the feelings there, but even with having your stepdad there, like, how would you say that affected you going into, your, those teenage years and going into, after high school and all that?
Yeah. Man, I at first I didn't think it affected me at all, And so until recently, maybe a few years ago, I began to dive deeper and just reflect on my upbringing, my childhood. And I was thinking at first that it didn't affect me at all. I ain't really need him. I ain't need that. But as I began to dive deeper, and dig deeper into the word of God and pray and meditate on God's word, man, I realized that it was a void there that wasn't filled, because God created fathers to fill a void that nobody else can fill, right? And so at just reflecting on that, I was like, man, I did have these voids in my life that I filled with different things, and they weren't always godly things, and so I filled them with different things, and I felt like I was good. But as I started to look at my kids, and I started to look at other fathers who was in their kids' lives, and I'm like, man, I wish I had that. I wish I could go to my dad and say, can we talk? I wish I could do that, but I couldn't, and so I looked and took some bad advice from the right people. You know, and I always say, you know, we take bad advice from well-intentioned people, but they give us what they know, you know, and so that's how it was.
Talking right now, y'all listen.
That's how it was, you know, and so I made some mistakes along the way, but praise the Lord that He's merciful, He's graceful, you know, and He's faithful, and so, you know, that's what it was, man, you know, but, you know, it is what it is, and that's what I always say, but, you know, we got to move forward, and we got to break those generational curses.
That's real.
You know, that my dad wasn't there, but I'm going to be in my son's life. I'm going to be in my daughter's life because they got to know what a dad looks like. And so, you know, I made it a point to myself, you know, me and my brothers to break those curses that was following that line in our generation.
Damn, that's so powerful, man, because maybe back when, because me and you the same age, probably about when I was maybe 26, maybe about 26, 27. I remember I was, we were doing some mentoring out in the community, and I remember, man, just leaving one day from the neighborhood where we were, and I was headed back home, man. It hit me literally out of nowhere, bro. Like, it just hit me, and I broke down, man, just crying, and I'm just like, man, I wish I had what I'm giving to others. You know, like, I wish I had my dad here. You know, like, I wish I could call my dad right now and just tell him, you know, like, things I have going on. And I like, currently right now, me and my dad were good. He just called me earlier today. But, like, back then, you know, we still ain't really have that connection like that, to where I even felt comfortable even calling him, even talking to him about anything, you know, real. Yeah.
So is this where it came from? The podcast came. This is where it sprouted up out of.
That was part of it.
Yeah.
It was part of it because I'm like, I know other men go through some of these same things. Like, I just know it's like, I'm not the only person that feels like this. I'm not the only person that's going through these things. And man, I remember that night I called my mom and I was just talking with her, you know, because I cried to my wife, and she just like, shout out. She didn't really know what to say to me. She just like, you know, it's all you. Ain't too much you can do about it. And I called my mom, and my mom was like, well, Shaw, you know, you always had me, and I could talk to her. And I'm like, I ain't saying you wasn't there, Mom. Like, you was everything that I could ask for. But all I'm saying is, I just wish that, you know, I had my dad. Like, of course I got uncles, and at the time I had my pastor and all this stuff. It's like, of course I know I got them, but I want to talk with the man that I came from.
Come on,
Like, that's who I want to be able to pick up the phone and be like, you know, Pops. I'm going through it, Pops. Like, you know, and just be able to hear him just give me what I need. You know, and it's funny you say that, because I remember just that moment was like one of those times where I was like, dang, boy, I really don't have my dad here. If I just needed to call him right now, I can't do it. And I think it hurt me, man. It hurt. You know, but over the years, you know, we, maybe about 2019, we started, you know, we had some real talks. I let him know a couple of things, and, you know, we at a point now where we talk, you know, every week. You know, I call him and just, you know, even if it's just, what's up, Pops? Like, today he ain't want that. He called, what's up, son? You all right? Yeah, I'm good. Had to do a podcast.
Straight up.
Boom, boom, and that's it. You know, and it just feel good to know that my dad called me and he thinking about me. And I be telling him that, like, bro, sometimes it's just, you ain't always got to need something, bro. Just call me to make sure I'm all right, bro.
And you know what's funny about that, man, is that not having a dad there affects your relationship with other people. And so, man, like, I have a spiritual father, and that he fathers me, you know, in the word of God and in all things God. And so we have a yearly meeting that we call his sons meeting, where all his spiritual sons and our wives come together, and we live under one roof for 3 days. And man, we have breakout sessions and marriage sessions and just worship sessions, you know. And Man, I love that dude, man. I love him, but it wasn't until he started fathering me about 6 or 7 years ago that I found that I had a hard time calling him dad or calling him pops or calling him whatever the father figure name I wanted to call him. And so I'm like, man, if I really had, you know, a dad there and I could call my daddy daddy, you know, it wouldn't feel so awkward to say, all right, what's up, pops? You know, what's up? And so I was kind of just contemplating that in my mind, but I'm like, you know, he's a father figure to me, and I respect this man as such, and he done gave me wise and sound advice. And so I'm like, man, I got to show him his respect and get over my insecurities from what I was given because I didn't have a father. And I'm like, man, you got to, you know, if you're not comfortable with it, it is what it is, you know, call him by his name, but he deserved that respect because he's fathering me. And so, you know, I call him Pops now, you know, what's up, Pops, man, what's going on? You know, we have real conversation, like you said, but it just it's crazy how not having that father there, man, just affects people. And I think, you know, we got to do a better job of making sure that we highlight fathers. So that's why I appreciate you for this, man, because fathers get overlooked, even in cartoons, even in TV shows now, you know what I'm saying? Like we get overlooked. And we just, it's like we insignificant, but that ain't how it's supposed to be, you know? God created the Godhead, God, fathers, then everything else come behind that. And so I think that's why Satan always tries to tear the fathers away from the families, you know, because if no father in the house, then it's outside the order of God and the way that God created it. And so I just want to encourage all the fathers, man, be in your kids' lives, even if it ain't going right with your baby mama, with whoever, be in those kids' lives, man, because they need you, and give them sound advice and make sure you listen.
Straight, man.
Make sure you listen, man. And I never forget one time, man, MJ, my son's 6, by the way, but he told me, man, when he was about 4, and I'm still learning how to raise kids. I'm still learning how to talk to my kids. You know what I'm saying? And so I've always been a coach. And so I always kind of talk loud when I start, you know, but I ain't yelling, but I'm talking loud. I don't even realize it. And my son told me, MJ, one day, he said, Dad, why you always yelling? I'm like, what you talking about? He was like, you always yelling. He said, I don't want you to yell at me when you talk to me. I want you to just talk to me regular. And when he said that, I'm like, all right, son, I won't do my best not to yell at you no more, because he didn't respond well to that. But he responds to me sitting him down and saying, all right, son, you doing this wrong. I need you to correct this. And I think that's where us as parents, especially in the black community, you know, when our kids try to tell us stuff, we want, boy, sit down. You know, you don't want what I said. No, but listen to your kids. Because he let me know then, all right, my feelings matter. And the way that you talk to me matter. And so when he said it, I said, all right, son, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk to you just like this. And let me know if, you know, you feel uncomfortable with me, with my tone, you know. Because that way, if a kid on defense all the time, they ain't going to receive what you got to say. You know, so he told me that, and I commended him for that, because a lot of times that could have been a moment in his life. If I'd have shut him down, he'd have never told me nothing else. Because he remembered when he tried to tell his daddy something, but I ain't listen. And so I just want to encourage us, man, just listen to your kids, you know. And so, you know, what I found out too, man, is my mama used to tell me, whenever I asked her a question, she'd tell me to do something, I say, why? You know, in our community, boy, you don't ask your parents why. You don't say why. What? That's like a cuss word. That's a cuss word, right? And so when I asked my mama why, she said, because I said so. Nothing else. Nothing, you know, but what I found is how I switch my parenting style up is if my kids ask me why, I tell them why. And I make sure I try to tell them why before they even ask. Because what I found is they're not asking to be disrespectful. They're asking because kids are curious and they want to know why. They want to know why.
It's real.
Right? And so, you know, if I say don't touch that stove, that's it. I'll be like, why I can't touch the stove? Because it's going to burn you, right? And so I think we just got to do a better job in our community, moms and dads, of explaining the why to our kids, because if we explain the why, and they'll be more susceptible to follow what we said instead of putting their hand on that stove when we tell them not to and getting burnt.
He's speaking. always said he giving game out for the free 99.
That's it.
You gotta pick it up, man. Don't leave it where it's at. Pick that game up, man. Because man, when I tell you, that's like so much conviction in that. Because my baby just told me that. My baby girl told me last week. It was the other day or something. We were doing something, and I did yell at him because I was just like, I think I just came home from work, and it was something. I think they had something on the floor, some crumbs. Right. And I'm like, y'all just gonna look at the crumbs? And then she said, Daddy, why you gotta yell?
Yeah.
I was like, because if I don't yell, y'all ain't gonna hear me.
Right.
And then she was like, well, Daddy, you can just say it.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, I'm already kind of upset. I'm like, man, whatever. You know, whatever, bro. Yeah. She only telling me the truth. Right. It's like, and me and my kids have talked about that so much. Uriah definitely get on me about, Daddy, you don't have to yell like But everything, a lot of the stuff they be saying be so true. At times we don't be wanting to hear that. Right. Because, you know, the conviction. Yeah. You know, because a lot of times our kids be done told us stuff, or we would even tell them certain things, you know, I ain't gonna do this, or I won't say this. Yeah. And then in that moment we get upset and we start doing it, and when the kids remind us, now we mad. Yeah. You know, and it's like at times I really gotta catch myself like, I'm doing it again. Right. I'm yelling again. Here I go. I just told myself I wasn't gonna do this. Yeah. But that is a very important thing. And you know, as my oldest, you know, she's 9. I find sometimes like I try to be very gentle with her because she already is she's fragile. Yeah. You know, you gotta be real careful with her. And at times, man, I feel like I get her to a point to where she don't be wanting it. She just like, I don't even want to talk. Yeah. You ain't gonna hear me, Daddy. Right. And I'll just be like, you know, I pull it back. Yeah. All right, let me go sit here. I'm gonna sit here and talk with her and really have those conversations. And I asked her one day, I was like, why does it seem like when you're in school, you can listen to everything the teachers tell you to do? It's simple for y'all. Yeah. All of y'all do that. But when you home, I gotta say things 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 times. Yeah. And it's simple stuff I'm asking y'all. And she was like, well, Daddy, at school, the teachers don't yell at us and they don't say mean things. Yeah. I was like, she got a point. Right. She got a point. Right. And as much as I was upset about that, I gotta take that and say, I gotta do better as a parent. I gotta do better. You know, because I told my wife one day, I say, you know, these kids, a lot of times we get upset with them, but they ain't always wrong. Man, these kids gonna give it to us. Listen, they gonna give it to us the truth. That's what they do. And so my kids call me out all the time. They call me out all the time. But I respect them for that. Yeah. And even, man, I was thinking the other day, I'm like, all right, should I do something, right? I'm thinking to myself, I should go do this. But then I said, but what if I do this? And it wasn't right or wrong. Yeah. It was just a decision, right? And it wasn't nothing big, but I'm like, nah, but if I do this, I know MJ gonna call me out. Mm-hmm. And my son kept me from doing whatever it was. I can't even remember what it was, but I knew my son was gonna call. I knew my son was watching me. Mm-hmm. And I knew my son was gonna call it out. As soon as he seen it, he was gonna call it out. And so I said, nah, I'm gonna leave that alone. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's big, man. It's big for our kids to see us apologize to them. Mm. You know, and I apologize to my kids often because a lot of times we are authority figures, but we gotta let our kids know that we wrong sometimes too. Yeah. And that we big enough to apologize to them so that they can apologize, you know, when they do wrong and when they doing stuff the wrong way. So I think that's big too, man. Just apologizing to your kids to show them that. I don't know, man, growing up, I can probably count on one hand how many times my mama said I'm sorry to me. Yeah. I don't think I ever heard it, but right. No, that's real. That's real, man. That's something we all gotta work on, parents out there. All of us, dads and moms alike. That's definitely one of those things that I know me and my wife, we can both work on that for sure. Right. But what has been one of your biggest adjustments, you know, once you became a dad? How old is your oldest? 8. So you 8 years in the game.
Yeah.
So 8 years ago, what was that biggest adjustment that you had to make, you know, to your life? You know, because, you know, when you have kids, it's like, you know, we live in one way before, and after you have that first child, it's like, you know, I think you come to a realization at one point, like, dang, like my life ain't the same no more. Like this is a different game, right? Yeah. So what's one of those adjustments you had to make? Man,
I think the biggest adjustment I had to make was selfishness.
Yeah.
You know, selfishness, man. And I had a big problem with that. I had a big problem with that, man, just because I was always used to just doing what I wanted, get what I want when I want. But, you know, I got this little person that I got to put in front of me. And I had a problem with that, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. We on the Dad Can We Talk podcast, man. I got to keep it 100.
Yeah.
Man, I don't think I figured it out until she was about 5. Real talk, man. My wife, you know, man, thank God for wives, man. Yeah. You know, the words say, he who find a wife find a good thing and find favor with the Lord, you know. And so, man, I appreciate my wife. She taught me through everything, right? Because, like, she sees stuff from a different lens. And so when I listen to her, it's usually the right thing to do because, man, she was just telling me, like, you putting yourself before this family, and that ain't what a real man do. That ain't what a husband do. And so, you know, I had to apologize, repent a lot of times. Yeah. A lot of times, man. But I think I started really figuring it out when she was about 5 years old, and I done had 2, 3. I'm on 3 when she 5 right now. So man, that was the hardest thing to do was man, just get that selfishness away. And you know, so that was probably the biggest adjustment I had to make was to take that selfishness and put it over here in this box. You know?
Man, bro, it's funny you say that. We're gonna have to segue into this marriage thing because, man, it's crazy. You know, me and my wife, we've been going through it. We've been going maybe the last year now. We was really going through it pretty rough. Yeah. Especially this year. And we had a talk one night a couple of weeks back, maybe like a couple months back. And one thing that my wife said to me, and it cut me, and I'm like, dang. She might be right on this. She hit me with that. But she was like, she feels like she's last in everything. She was like, you ain't selfish with the kids. Right. You'll do anything for the kids. Yeah. You go above and beyond for the kids. Right. You know, for your podcast. Yeah. You know, I just graduated school. Yeah. For everything else, for the community.
But I'm on the back burner.
I'm on the back burner.
Oh, man.
And you know, when she said it, I was like, man, you talking crazy. Yeah. Ain't no way. Yeah. Ain't no way. I'm like, you know, I do more X, Y, Z. She like, but you do that stuff for you. Yeah. You wasn't doing that for me. Yeah. And I was like, man, she talking crazy, bro. She talking crazy. Yeah. But then when I really sat back and, you know, God really began to reveal that stuff to me, like, yeah, bro.
She right.
She right. Yeah. You know, and you can do much better. Yeah. And she might not even be 100% right on everything, but even if she 98%, bro, you got work you can do. You got it. You can't look at it like you ain't got any work. Right. And when she said the bread, that's when it all clicked for me. I'm like, man, I got to do better. Yeah. I got to do better when it comes to my wife, because she should be above all that. Right. You know? Yeah. And man. So how long have you been married?
9 years.
So you 9 years. You just hit 10 this year.
Yeah, 9 years.
So we about right there. Yeah. So what's been one of those things? Would you say that that's something that you dealt with in marriage? Just being a husband, you know, being able to how have you been able to manage everything, your time, you know, between kids, you know, 3 kids and a wife and work and coaching, all that stuff. How do you balance all that?
Man, that's the big question. Yeah. And I think, man, and it's funny you say that, man. I've just come through a storm. Me and my wife just come through a storm like that probably 2 years ago. You know, over the last 2 years, we've been coming out that storm because I've been doing the same thing. I was doing the same exact thing. I'm doing stuff for everybody else. You know, I'm doing stuff for the kids. I'm coaching. I'm doing stuff for the community. But my wife was on the back burner. And so like, and man, that's funny. And cause we ain't the only ones, you know, but sometimes as men, we feel like we ain't got nobody we can talk to about it, right?
For real.
But we all go through something, right? Something like that. And so I think that's it, man. It's just managing the time. But so I began to read the word, man. Shout out to the word of God, man. Like God, the word will convict you, man. You know, that's why the Bible says sharper than any two-edged sword, right? And so, man, one night, probably about a year and a half ago, I'm reading the Bible, and I come in 1 Peter. I can't remember the chapter, but I come into 1 Peter, and I don't even know why. I don't even read 1 Peter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let me real. Yeah, I'm a minister. I preach the word of God, but I don't even get in 1 Peter like that, man. Let's be real. I don't even get in 1 Peter, but I know it's the Holy Spirit that had to lead me to 1 Peter, man. And I'm reading, and the Bible says a husband is supposed to honor his wife, right? Even though she's weaker than us, we treat her as the same. And then at the end of the scripture, it said, because if you don't, your prayers will be hindered.
Ooh.
And man, when I saw that, I called my wife in the room, like, baby, come here. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I apologize. Because my prayers been hindered.
Straight
because
up.
I haven't been treating you how I'm supposed to be treating you.
Right.
I'm not holding you to this standard that the words say hold it to, right? Because the Bible says that we're supposed to love our wives the way we love ourselves. And so I wasn't doing that. I was just loving me.
Yeah.
I wasn't loving my wife the way I was supposed to love her. And so, man, I got convicted with that. And so I began to just tell her, like, I'm gonna treat you the way you need to be treated.
Straight up.
You know, and so, you know, I just began to be intentional about doing stuff for her and spending time with her, man. And I'm like, man, for me, like, I don't want my wife I want her to feel like she the most special person in the world. And I tell her every day, I tell her often, I'm like, you my favorite person in the world. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and so the Lord did a shift in my heart. And so, man, I was praying while we was going through what we was going through. You know, I was praying and I was like, God, change her heart, right? Yeah. I said, God, change her heart. And as I'm praying, man, I just hear the Lord say, I don't need to change her heart. I need to change your heart. Yeah. And so I'm like, you right. Yeah. Like, Lord, change my heart, you know, so I can have that unconditional love for my wife that she has for me. You know, and so during those rough times, man, I saw a love of God shine through my wife that I had never seen before. And so she actually brought me closer to God through just loving me through my problems and through the problems we was going through, because I was just used to seeing people, you know, treat me how I was treating them. But I was putting her on the back burner, putting her down on the list, but she kept me at the front. And so, you know, that's why the Lord honored her. You know, and I believe that's why we still together today, because she did her part, right? She did her part in marriage. She honored her husband. She respected her husband. Shout out to my wife, man. Yeah. Shout out to Shawana Williams. Okay. Shout out to my wife, man. And I was talking to a young man the other day, and he's thinking about getting married. I think he's like 26. He's thinking about getting married. And I said, I'm gonna ask you this question. I said, how does she make you feel? And he was like, I don't know, I ain't never been asked that question before, right? Yeah. So he's like, I gotta think about that. And I said, man, this how I know my wife is, she the one, right? Like, I said, she made me feel like I could jump off the roof and fly. Like, when she believe in me, when a woman believe in you,
yeah, boy, ain't nothing like it.
Ain't nothing like it, right? And so I'm like, man, and a lot of people don't know my story, but when we first moved to Gainesville 5 years ago, God told me to move to Gainesville. And so when we moved, I picked up everything. I ain't have a job. I ain't have nothing here. I ain't know nobody like that but her family. And so the first 7-8 months that we were here, I was a stay-at-home dad. And so, man, it was tough. It was tough for me because I couldn't find a job and I couldn't do all these things, right? And so, long story short is that I had to realize that my value didn't come from money. because I was teaching my kids how to read at 3 years old and 2 years old.
Right.
They knew how to read. They knew how to write. They knew how to do math. They knew how to do all this. But I thought my value was in money. But my value to my family exceeded money. And so, man, I never forget, we would go out to restaurants and I ain't working, so I ain't got no money. And so, man, when the check comes, she slide me the debit card under the table.
Yeah.
So I can pay for it. So I can feel like a man that I pay for my kids and my wife food. You feel me? And so when she did that, man, like that let me know that she respect me, and she never try to tear me down and make me feel less than.
That's real.
And so, you know, I just explained that to the young man, like, man, listen, when she make you feel like a man, even though when you don't feel like a man, that's how you know you got one.
Well, you got one.
Yeah.
And a young man, listen to it, man. Listen, the man giving you the game.
Yeah.
And he ain't said not one thing wrong yet. So yeah, just listen to him.
Yeah.
That, cause man, bro, listen, that's one of those things, man. And at times we can lose focus, especially when it comes to marriage. Like when you said something so important. When you start feeling less of a man.
Yeah.
You know, your wife don't be looking at you like that sometimes. Your kids don't be looking. It really, sometimes it don't be nobody looking at you like that.
Yeah.
You look at yourself like that. And because of how, and that's something that I've really struggled with over the years, is I beat myself down so much to the point to where I feel like everybody else doing the same thing. And I'm like, well, nobody ain't, where really ain't nobody saying anything. It's me.
Yeah.
I'm the person saying all these things. Man, Bizzle got a song called he released it last year, man, on the album. On the song he talked about how he didn't love himself. Yeah. Man, when I heard that song last year, I had to stop listening to it. I couldn't the emotions, I couldn't handle it, bro, because it was so real. Yeah. And he was like, how the hook say, God told me to love you. Something like God told me to love you, but I can't love you. I don't even love myself. Yeah. You know, like I have a hard time loving me. Yeah. And in the verse, like one of the verses, he said something like, it's so easy for me to point out all your flaws. He was talking to himself. Right. It's so easy for me to point out all your flaws. And I'm like, bro, I can sit here and count on why I can give you all type of flaws I got. Right. But when it comes to things that I do well, I remember I had an interview one time at a job, and the people asked me what some of my strengths were. Right. Bro, when I tell you I got stuck right there, I couldn't think. Right. I'm like, and I remember it was just so embarrassing. Yeah. And I'm like, dang, I done froze up in the interview trying to name some of my strengths. Right. But if you actually, my weaknesses, I can tell you that all day. Because we be so down on ourselves sometimes, and we can point out and when we do that within ourselves, point out all that stuff within us, we start to do it to other people. Yeah. And so I started doing that to my wife.
And we do it to the ones closest to us.
Man, what? Bro, I point out all my white flaws. Yeah. Because I do it to myself all day long. And it's so hard for me to even accept compliments, you know.
Right. But if you had your dad there to reassure you of who you are, bro. If you had your dad there to reassure you of who you are, then maybe those insecurities don't be there, right? Because I had those insecurities too, because me and my wife would sit up, we was talking, and she just asked me questions. She like my therapist, man. Like she be asking me these questions, and I'm like, man, I didn't see it like that, you know? And so, just looking at my childhood and I was like, man, I thought I had a great childhood. Come to find out, I don't know now. but like just these questions, man, and I reassure my kids, like, listen, I don't care what nobody say. You fearfully and wonderfully made, and I don't care what nobody say. You this and you that, and I tell them what they are, and it's not because of what other people say. It's because I instill that in them, and I instill that. But like you said, though, man, it is tough. Not to deviate from the marriage thing, but man, just like it's tough for this generation to give themselves a compliment, because I teach kindergarten And last year I taught kindergarten through 12th. This year I teach kindergarten through 8th. And last year I put a question up on the board in PE. We get real in PE, man.
Yeah.
And I put a question up on the board and I said, name 3 things you love about yourself. And I got a class of 50 kids. Over 60% of the class could not name 2 things that they love about themselves.
Damn.
And I'm like, man, that's a problem. Like we can point out like you were just saying, we could point out everything that we hate about ourselves, everything that we do wrong. But when I say, give me 3 things you love about yourself, they couldn't even give me 2. They couldn't give me 2. And so I went home and I was telling my wife about it. So we started to tell our kids, hey, give me 3 things you love about yourself. Random. It might be time for bed. Give me 3 things. I need them right now.
Yeah.
You know, and so my kids, you know, they tell, one thing that we tell them is you better love your skin. Love your skin.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? Because my son, he ran into some racism when he was in preschool. And it was unintentional. It wasn't to be hurtful, but the little girl didn't know what she was saying. And she told my son, he was like, you know how kids do, I'm gonna come over your house and play. And she said, my mama said, if you don't look like me, you can't come over my house. And he was in K4, 4 years old. I had to explain to my son why he need to love his skin. And so now we got to reassure our kids, like, listen, you love your skin. This is the way God wanted you.
Straight up.
You know, and so that hurt me, man. That was probably one of the main things as a dad, that probably one of my lowest points was that time when my son said that. And it wasn't even he said it. She said it the same day. It was about 2 weeks before he told me. And he's 4 years old. He's thinking about it.
Damn.
And so, man, I cried for like 3 days just because where I grew up, it's a lot of racism, you know, and I had to deal with that. And so I knew it was going to come a day that I had to teach my kids about it, but I didn't think it was going to come at 4 years old, man. So, you know, so it hurt me, but, you know, it's always a teaching point. It's always a lesson that we can teach our kids, that we can teach ourselves, man. Because I felt, you know, like, man, I let my guard down. You know what I'm saying? Because growing up where I'm from, I always got my guard up. Like, yeah, I know it's racism, so I'm gonna look at you a certain way, and I'm gonna keep you right here. But I'm like, I let my guard down. But that ain't how you live life, man. You don't live life with a guard up. You live life and you teach these lessons to your kids, to yourself, and you move on. But nah, man, we always teach our lessons through love, and I don't care what they say to you. You show love. And you know, God will handle the rest.
Man, boy, I ain't even gonna go there, cause boy, we could go
all day.
Oh man, bro.
Yeah.
So much we could tackle on that.
Yeah.
But why has it been so important for you to step up in your community, especially like as a coach? And you know, I know y'all have the program at The Rock where y'all, you bring others into your home, you open up your home and stuff to others. Why has that been an important thing for you?
Man, it's been important. Just because I think my coach played an important part in my life. And my coach, shout out to Joe Hayes, man. Joe Hayes, that's my boy, man. He my son, God daddy. And he's a white man. You know what I'm saying? And so, I got it from him. Like I had a relationship with him that I ain't had with nobody else. You know, I could go to him. He helped me get into college. He helped me do a lot of things. And so I felt like I could reach a lot of kids that way. So when I got into coaching, that's what I did. I just helped these kids, man. And because I feel, even if they have a parent and a father in the house, you know, it takes a village. You know, it takes men to pour into these kids. It takes men, whether they boys or girls. You know, it takes men to pour into them to show what a real man is and what a father is and what a husband is. And so I think that was important because we do have a host family program at The Rock. You know, if you interested in being a host family, reach out to me and we can get that ball rolling. But me and my wife, we were a host family for 2 sisters from Australia. And man, it's just like they're our daughters. And so, you know, it's just showing the love of Christ. That's our ministry. Me and my wife talk about it all the time. Just giving back to these kids is our ministry. And that's how we look at it, man. We done had so many kids stay over to the house and just, you know, picking them up, dropping them off, doing these things. But that's our ministry, and that's how we spread the love of Christ. You know, I always tell people, you can tell people you're a Christian, you believe in God, but if you don't live that way, ain't nobody gonna believe you. Straight up. So I think just the way you know, that I could affect these kids and help steer them in the right direction, you know. And so I think that was the biggest thing for me.
That's real. That's real. When I heard about that program, I was like, wow, that's big, man, because that's, you know, even for like someone like you, that's like another step of fatherhood, you know, because now you ain't just being a father to, you know, your own children in your house.
Right.
You're being a father to, a lot of times, father to the fatherless, you know, father to other kids in the community that need that role model there to be able to see, you know, a positive male role model that they could look at and, you know, possibly, you know, live, you know, kind of take that route. Like they see what you do and now they say, you know what, dang, I like what he do. You know, I'm gonna do that now. You know, when I get older, I want to do that same thing. You know, and I think that's the type of stuff that we need. We need more. We just need those role models. I remember growing up, that was something the role models that I seen. I was like, I saw what I saw, so I kind of wanted to be what I wanted to be because of everything I saw, whether it be TV. I always tell people, I was a guest on a podcast one time, and she was like, you know, who really raised you? And I'm like, really, the Hot Boys. Wayne, that's who raised me. That's what I was listening to. You know, I was listening to all that type of music, and that's how I learned how I was gonna talk. That's how I learned how I was gonna dress. How I treated women. How I carried myself came from what I saw on TV and what I listened to. So if you don't have that role model there to show you how you dress, how you talk, how you treat, I mean, you gonna follow the thing that you see the most. So I think that's so important what you're doing, man, to be able to be there for other kids that's not necessarily your children, and you take them on as your own. That's a big thing, bro. That's big. That's big. And man, that was something that I asked. I was talking with Coach Ryan about that, and I just think that's just one of those things. That's why I love The Rock so much, because I'm like, this is the type of stuff we need. You know, we truly do need programs like this, and to see, you know, you, Coach Ryan, Coach Harden, just to see the role, the models of men at the school. I'm like, you need this. You got to be able to have this on the campus where you see men, because I even think, even as I was younger, walking around school, I ain't see too many men. I think really one of the only men I can remember was always just the one PE teacher we would have. And outside of that, it's like, you don't see too many other men on the campus. Because we really weren't teachers, especially black men. And I just think it's an important thing to have that presence of men on school campuses. And how would you say that do you see the impact of that? Like you walking around school and being able to interact with the kids while they're on campus. Like what impact do you see there?
Oh man, it's a great impact. A great impact. I think it makes the biggest impact, even with not just with the kids, but with the teachers as well. I know me and Coach Jones, me and Coach Ryan, we have kids that, you know, come to us when teachers can't handle them. They go to Coach King, go to Coach Jones. And so I think that father figure on campus, that male figure on campus, I should say is imperative because they act a certain way, or they act a different way when they know. They know you might be around that corner. You know what I'm saying? And I have a few that I'll come in, peep in the class, make sure they doing doing their thing, you know, and I ask them, hey, you doing the right thing today? You know, they might say yeah, they might say no, and then we might have a talk. But I think the presence is so great, man. Like, even not just for the black kids, but for the white kids too, for the Asian kids, for the Hispanic kids, everybody, because it's a certain type of security when you see a man on campus, right? When you see a male figure on campus, and I haven't even done any research, but I might have to do some research on these school shootings to see how many males are on campus. You feel what I'm saying? Because I don't know how many males that are on campus when these things are going down. And so I think we do a great job at the Rock School to you know, for our males to be seen and to pour into these kids and to high five them, fist bump them, you know. And so I think that goes a long way, man. It goes a long way. And we have I think we have about 10 males now on the Rock campus, man. And so that's a great accomplishment for a school. And
especially it's a smaller campus, so it's like, as much as you can see, if you can see one around every corner, every time I turn this corner, they right there. It's like when you seeing it, because I know me, I just be speaking for myself. I know when I was younger, boy, I was scared. I seen a man like, shoot, boy, that joker might get me today, boy, if I see it. You know, so it kind of make you, you know, put you, all right, let me make sure I'm all right. You know, even as when I was in 12th grade, it was a guy named Mr. Gilmore, old white guy. Oh my God. Boy, when I tell you, Mr. Gilmore used to put fear in my heart, boy. Man, when I found out in the end of 11th grade, you know, they used to give you your schedule for the next year. Boy, and I seen his name, I was like, oh my God, boy, they done put me in Mr. Gilmore. Man, and he was everything that people said he was. Everything. It wasn't nothing different. I was like, bro, he really is who they say he is. And he was a mean dude. But I always tell my wife, man, if it wasn't for Mr. Gilmore, I probably would have never graduated high school. Because me being in his class in 12th grade, when I say that joke used to put fear in me, and I used to hate him, boy, I used to hate him to the core. But he ain't never ease up on me. He just like, nah, I'm gonna tell you what's right. Because a lot of times, man, us as teachers, and us as dads, us as adults, man, we see stuff in kids that they can't see in themselves. You know what I'm saying? Just same way our wives see it in us. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way. But like back then, you thought he was mean, but now you appreciate him. Right? You know what I'm saying? So man, we shout out to the teachers out there, man. Hey, listen, don't be them kids' friend. Be their teacher and help guide them. There's a lot of new teachers out there. Don't be their friend. Hey, be that authority figure that help them along the way. They're gonna appreciate. They might not like you right now, but just like Rashad, man, they gonna appreciate you in the long run. So that's real. That's real, man. I wish I could see Mr. Gilmore right now. Boy, when I tell you, I would just give him his praise, man, because he deserved that, because he was just really one of them people that really, you know, I remember going to my guidance counselor and telling her, like, listen, let me get out of his class. She was like, why? I was like, he don't like me. She was like, who said that? I'm like, I know he don't. I know how we just don't get along, period. And she was like, I'm sorry, I can't do it for you. And when word got back to him that I went and did that, he had a talk with me after class one day, and he was like, I'm hearing you trying to get out my class. I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, I can't do this with you. And he was like, all I want to do is see you succeed. If I don't stay on top of you, you won't work up to your potential. And I know you won't. So that's why I ain't trying to just be mean just for the sake of it. But you're not gonna come in my class and be talking. You gonna pay attention. I'm gonna call on you to do that. I'm gonna do all that, because that's what I'm supposed to do. And it's like, looking back at that, you know, I always tell my wife, I say he was the one that taught me reading comprehension. Like, that was my biggest problem. And that man took time with me. And it was just a man that I respect. And it was just, it's something about having that male there that, I don't know, if for a young man, it just does something to you. Especially, you know, for someone like me, I ain't have a dad. So it was like, I was the authority. I was kind of trying to buck from it, but I couldn't do it. Because I'm like, I'm almost scared. You know, so when we used to have those talks, it always made me feel like, okay, let me get right.
Right.
Let me get my stuff.
Yeah.
Let me get my stuff
That's
together.
real. That's what's up. Shout out Mr. Gilmore. I don't know where he at,
Gilmore, man.
Shout out Mr. Gilmore.
He probably out there on the lake or something fishing right now. Mr. Gilmore, man. Shout out to you. I hope you hear this one day.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a sit down with you, Mr. Gilmore, if we get back to you. But got a few more questions for you. How important is it for a parent to have downtime? Like you as a dad, how important is it for you to have that time for you?
Yeah.
Excluding your wife, excluding the kids, it's just time for you.
Man, I think it's important. It's really important. Because we give and give and give and give and give, right? And so a lot of times we just need to chill for an hour, 2 hours, just to recharge, because I think as dads, as men, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be like, I gotta be here for my family, I gotta be here for the kids, for the wife, I gotta go do this, do that. And a lot of times we don't Sabbath, right?
Yeah.
We don't Sabbath. We're going through a series right now in chapel at school about Sabbath, right? And just resting. And so I think it's important, man. Whatever it is for you, though, fishing, basketball, that's what I do, fishing and basketball. I'm from the country, I'm from the water, North Florida. Shout out Appalachian Coast.
What? Never, bro.
Oh, we gotta make that happen. So whatever it is, you do fishing, basketball, whatever. But yeah, we gotta get on that boat, man. We gotta go catch some fish. but yeah, so I think it's important just to be able to recharge, get away, quiet your mind. Especially with everything going on around us, just get that quiet time to yourself and just reflect or whatever you need to do. Yep. So I think, just that one-on-one time with yourself is very important.
That's real. Man, I got one more for you. If you could sit down like me and you were doing right now and talk with the 18-year-old version of Ken, knowing everything you know right now,
right.
If you can give him one piece of advice going forward, what would you say to him?
Love unconditionally.
Yeah.
Love unconditionally, man. That's the biggest piece of advice I would give myself, because growing up, I think I saw so much conditional love. It affected my marriage. It affected the relationships that I built with other people. And so I would say love unconditionally, no strings attached. And just show that love, real love. You know what I'm saying? So 18-year-old Ken, love unconditionally and do the right thing.
That's real.
That's it.
That's real. And that's some good advice for everybody out there, man. You know, if you can learn to love, first learn to love yourself unconditionally. Stop putting all that pressure and terms and conditions on yourself, man, and learn to love you, outside of all your flaws. Everybody got flaws. We all got something that we dealing with, man, but we gotta learn to love ourselves so that in return we can love our children.
That's it.
We can love our spouse. We can love others around us. So yeah, that's a good one. That's definitely a good one, man. But I think we tackled a lot today, man. Definitely got some things I know I'm finna work on as soon as I leave here. And that's why I like to have these, man, have these sit downs with other men, because then I can be inspired to leave from here and go do some of these some same things that we talked about, because I know I got work to do, man. And just seeing that I got other brothers in the fight with me,
yes sir,
just give me that encouragement to know that, all right, cool. Yeah. We in this. We ain't stopping yet. Ain't nobody gave up. We still in the race. Yeah. And we got work to do.
That's
so yeah, I'm finna get on that, man. But that was good, bro.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man. Yes sir.
I want you to keep doing what you're doing, man. I definitely gonna pull up to a few games this year. Yeah. Come check y'all out, man. And we gonna get it in. So hey, man, y'all listen. If y'all ever get some time, man, if you in the Gainesville area, go to the Rock School and check out the basketball team. When I tell y'all, these guys are real deal. Yeah. I've seen some of these jits up close. They different, man. So Y'all go and support the team. They won state last year.
Nationally ranked 22 right now.
Ooh, national ranked 2-2.
Yeah.
Listen, y'all gotta go see it, man. Y'all gotta go see it. Go over and support the school, man. You know, they're doing some great things over there. Got a great program over there. If y'all got any questions about the school or anything they got going on, get in contact with my brother, man. He can lead you in the right direction. And yeah, so like I said in the beginning, y'all go to YouTube, go wherever you get podcasts. This will be posted up probably in the next week and a half. Hopefully I can get them processed down a little fast. I'll be all over the place. But by next week, a week and a half, I'll have this posted. It'll be all over YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, all type of stuff, man. It'll be on the website also at dadcanwetalk.com. So y'all go and find that. Y'all continue to support, and y'all stay on the lookout. Episode 100 is coming up. Hey. So after episode 100, I just talked with one of my brothers today. We're planning in January. We want to get all of the guys that have been a part of the podcast. We want to try to, I know a lot of guys out of state, but everyone at least around here, we want to do like a big dinner or something, man, and we're gonna try to get it going, man.
Yeah,
so
chop it up.
We all sit down, we chop it up, man. Everybody exchange info. You know, we build a community of men. That's what we want to do. So y'all be on the lookout for that. That's coming in the next couple of months. So yeah, y'all continue to stay tuned. Shout out to 6 O'Clock Studios and my boy T. Whitey. This is where we posted up at today. So y'all go and find 6 O'Clock Studios on Instagram, on Facebook, and follow, man. You know, they always putting out content. If you need a video done, if you need some studio time, I think Whitey do shirts, do all types of stuff, man. Get with him. He does graphics also. So if you need any of that, get in contact with 6 O'Clock Studios or T. Whitey on social media. So without further ado, man, we finna get up out of here. We got families to get back to. So yeah, until the next time, we out of here. Dad, Can We Talk? Episode 97. We out.
Fought me